as soon as Roman Reigns had defeated Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39, everybody in unison went, oh, I can't believe he's been buried. This is the end. I may as well dig a hole right now and get in there. Now look, would I have done things differently? Yes, I would have done. I mean, as soon as Kevin Owens had hit the stunner, and as soon as Sami Zayn had hit the Aluva kick, I would have had Reigns get to his feet, Cody Rhodes hit the crossroads, 1, 2, 3, and then all the love comes out of our tums and smashes the American Nightmare right in the face. We didn't do that though, and you know what? It's fine. You're gonna be fine, I'm gonna be fine, my mum is gonna be fine, my pet cat Cleo is going to be fine, and more importantly, Cody Rhodes is going to be fine. Why? Here's why. Now, first and foremost, this isn't Cody's first rodeo. I mean, he is a 17-year veteran at this stage, given that he did debut back in 2006, and he also comes from the Rhodes family. Whether we're talking about Dusty or whether we talk about Dustin, when it comes to professional wrestling, well, those guys just know what they're doing. Even with all that, though, he's still only 37 years old, and actually, when you go through his career, I mean, he has done flipping everything. Because he was in developmental, then legacy, he grew a moustache, he was dashing, he tagged with his brother, he was Stardust, he went to TNA, Ring of Honor, PWG, New Japan, and he started a brand new competitive wrestling company. So even if he retired tomorrow, I think he'd go, I did all right. But also, he won the flipping Royal Rumble, and he's been part of a WrestleMania main event. I mean, the first time you take a bump, if somebody presents that to you as your run, you'd be like, yeah, I'll take it, sounds great. Regardless of all that though, the constant chatter is that he's going to be buried, but do not forget that's what some people were also saying when he left AEW to join WWE. It was all, oh man, who's gonna be Stardust within a week? It's going to be ridiculous. Although I tell you, after he had re-debuted at WrestleMania 38, that entrance was so damn good, even if he did get back into that weird yellow costume, I still would have been like, well, he must have made the right choice. I was live for that entrance and it was pretty damn special. Thing is though, we are 12 months on and he's still smashing it. So if we do use the past to predict the future, I think we can just all relax a little bit and start believing in Mr. Rhodes. And yes, let's go through all of this, because after he had returned, he did launch into the meat and bones of his narrative, which was he has to finish the story for his family, or the fact that Dusty Rhodes had never won the WWF Championship. This was really smart, because as soon as Cody said, I will do this, you were able to understand. Like, even if you weren't aware of any of this, and you didn't have the history, anybody can go, okay, he loves his dad, his father got screwed around, so now Cody wants to make amends. I mean, that's just like 2 + 2 = 4, which is far better than 2 + 2 = potato. So we had the emotional impact, and then Rhodes got injured, and while I would never wish an injury on anyone, seeing him fight in that Hell in a Cell with a pectoral muscle that looked like an alien, well, you couldn't help but respect him, and you couldn't help just put him on a pedestal. And as soon as he did get there, given that WWE did want to make him a tippy-top guy, well, quite amazingly, it actually helped. It led to the Rumble win and, of course, competing against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But as soon as he had been defeated, the story had been left unopened, which meant some fans walked in the door and was like, oh no, Cody is now the brand new Lex Luger. I'm like, I'm sorry. If you think that, you do not remember what happened back then. Now, in case you don't know what that means, back in 1993, Vince McMahon decided, oh, I'm done with Hulk Hogan. He sucks now. I need a brand new star of Hulkamania. So Lex Luger, you're pretty jacked. I pick you. This was kind of weird because he was the narcissist at the time and a super bad guy, but he was put in this position. He did slam Yokozuna on a boat, and I'm not joking, when all of a sudden, this all changed. We got to SummerSlam and we got to WrestleMania, and Lex would only ever beat Yoko by count out or DQ, and every time he did do this, he was like, oh man, I can't believe I've done it. It was like, Luger, come here. You haven't. So we totally failed to do this properly, but also the entire time, fans didn't buy into this at all. And in fact, it was very much like the incarnation of Roman Reigns Part 1. It was like, would you stop forcing this guy down our throat? We want nothing to do with him. Now, if we go forward to 2023, does that sound like the American Nightmare? No, it doesn't. Instead, Cody's music hits, he goes, whoa, and we all join in with him, and we think he's the best thing ever since sliced bread. I mean, over WrestleMania weekend, he was the #1 merchandise seller too, and do not get me wrong, I loved Lex Luger, and he has had some damn good matches throughout his career, but when you're comparing the two, it is night and day. And also, I don't want to be that guy, but Cody Rhodes is also the better wrestler. And he's far better on a microphone. I mean, if anything, Vince actually did make the right call in the mid-90s when it came to Lex, because he pivoted to Bret Hart too, because that's what the audience wanted. So we're putting that under a bed, and we're never talking about it again. I mean, the fact that we were all livid that Rhodes didn't win, and yet 24 hours later we're still screaming for him on Monday Night Raw is a good sign. Because again, if you bury someone, usually it means the fans are like, well, man, I'm sick of this now. But at the moment, we've already talked about it, we're feeling warm and fuzzy in our tum-tums. If anything, to try and justify it, we did start fancy booking SummerSlam going, well, we all know that WWE wants to make SummerSlam into a WrestleMania, so Cody can just win it then, and then Roman Reigns will have his 1,000-day record, and everything will be toodly pipsky. Let's actually say this was a mistake, and it does result in Rhodes hitting a wall. I actually have faith in WWE that they would turn it around, but also, Cody is such a talented sports entertainer, I think he would sniff this coming a mile away and make any changes he needed to in order to stay on top. We're not comparing these situations anymore, and I'm also going to say this. If the grandson of a plumber is not the WWE champion within the next 12 months, I will eat all of my hair. And you're now saying, Simon, you don't have any hair, you absolute moron. Yeah, it's my show. Why am I going to say something I don't want to do? I'd rather talk in baloney. So ultimately, I am relying on the fact that Cody has proven time and time again that he can hold the audience in a palm of his hand. He also has those amazing lines. They just come out of nowhere and they sound like a soundbite, but you're like, oh crap, I now want to run through walls to this guy. But don't do that, because have you ever run into concrete? Really hurts. So ultimately, as ever, it does come down to the story, and we've made the decision that no, we're not gonna finish it at WrestleMania, and instead it's gonna carry on. And I get that WWE is nuts right now, because we don't actually know who is running the thing. Is it Triple H or Vince McMahon? But it was Vince McMahon who brought Cody Rhodes back to begin with. So yeah, when I do search my feelings, be it rightly or wrongly, I do have faith that we're gonna sort this out, and that we do have a plan. I know on many levels that's stupid, because WWE has let us down time and time again, but I am a positive Pete. We ain't going negative, Nancy. I mean, to help your brain a little bit, do not forget that the WrestleMania 39 was the first time Cody had had a televised World Championship match, and that he still comes out the other side as a main event player because he's feuding with Brock Lesnar. And not everybody gets to feud with Brock Lesnar. I know the Omos thing was a little bit weird, but when you go through all his other opponents, well, he only works with the best. And let's say that Rhodes does indeed defeat the Beast, which he absolutely should. Well, he puts his name on a list that is not that long. Because again, while Brock may have had many matches in his 20-year career, usually he wins. So to double down on this, yes, one day Cody will be WWE champion, and my biggest fear is actually that WWE go, oh man, we're splitting the belts, and Rhodes wins it that way. That'd be absolutely redonkulous. Because Roman Reigns has held it for so damn long, someone just needs to pin him for the 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, you're not using the power of this lengthy reign. And even still, I refuse to forget the fact that this is the man that left in 2016 and basically bet on himself. Because if we were back then and I was saying, oh man, Cody Rhodes is going to main event WrestleMania 39, you would have spat in my face because you would have been offended by my lies. But it happened, people. Don't forget the amazing journey he's had. But as of me talking, he's also only been in the title picture for 3 months, which is nothing when it comes to wrestling. So those horrible words are now going to come out of my mouth, but I have decided to let the story play out. I know, more fool me. But ultimately, a broken clock is still right twice throughout a day, but given that we are talking about Cody Rhodes being buried, I refuse to stand here and accept it. I mean, he is having a Hall of Famer run at the moment. I bet loads of people are still jealous of him, even though he lost in the WrestleMania 39 main event. And I do understand it, we're reacting because we're sad, but sometimes having that emotion is actually a really good thing. I mean, have you ever read a Shakespeare play? 9 times out of 10 they have you crying. That dude loved tragedy. And it is still an odd path to take. I mean, it did seem like this was the satisfying conclusion, but once more, go back to 2015 on Peacock or the WWE Network, fire up a Cody Rhodes match, and your brain will do all kinds of crazy things, because this really has been quite the turnaround. So yeah, I still do believe that Mr. Rhodes will probably be the guy that takes down Roman Reigns' generational title run. And maybe it does feel a little late when we do get there eventually, but never forget the most important phrase of all time. It's better late than never, but it's better never late. I got that wrong, I don't know why you watch these videos either. Now, more important than all of this, make sure you go in those comments and tell me straight. Do you agree with this? Do you not agree with this? Do you think this is the end of Cody Rhodes? Or do you believe he's still going to fly up there in the mountains? Then please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com where you can read these kind of articles with your eyes. Make sure you watch another video because we have a ton of them. And come say hey on social media, especially if you think I'm a dick. My name is Simon for What Culture. Thank you very much for joining me as always. And yeah, what are we in? April 2023. So by April 2024, I'm saying Cody will be the champ. And do I believe in that? You bet your ass. See you soon.